Psalms 33, verse 16. There is no king saved by the multitude of an host. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. And the horse is a vain thing for safety, neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. Behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy, to deliver their soul from death, and to keep them alive in famine. Our soul waited for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. For our heart shall rejoice in him, because we have trusted in his holy name. Let thy mercy, O Lord, be upon us, according as we hope in thee. All praise to the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and enough respect to the brothers teaching and preaching the truth worldwide. This is a response entitled, Stand Still and See the Salvation of the Lord. And this is like I said, a response to from New Jersey. Forgive me, brother, I don't know your name. It slipped my mind. But his page is Stand the Spirit. Stand the Spirit 144 out of New Jersey. I believe he's from the Men of Valor, New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken, but I might be wrong on that. But in any event, the brothers in the body, as you know, Men of Valor and Great Millstone, we teach the same thing. So at the end of the day, one family. But this is his lesson right here, Stand Still and See the Salvation of the Lord. And this is a response to that lesson. So right here lately, you've been seeing this week, you had the big thing happen with the so-called, attack, as it were. And they're saying this guy was affiliated with the Hebrew Israelites. Of course, they're saying black. So in these times, like we said about this brother's lesson, it was a very uplifting, very good lesson, powerful. I was inspired by it. And, the Spirit got on me to put together a lesson similar like into it, because we're in the times of, faith, having faith and great deliverance. So any real Israelite knows that you can't deliver yourself and you're not going to be taking up weapons. Again, in Psalms 33:16, it says this: there is no king saved by the multitude of an host. It doesn't matter how many soldiers you have as an army. It's not going to matter. As the scripture goes on to explain, there is no king saved by the multitude of an host. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. Doesn't matter how big you are, how much muscles you got, how much you go and work out. If the Most High has it in your story that you're going to check out that day, you will not deliver yourself. And horse is a vain thing for safety, neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. It doesn't matter how many soldiers, doesn't matter how strong you are, doesn't matter how many horses or chariots you have. Behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. This is how you get past death. This is how you win wars and stay alive in famine. Through the mercies of Yahweh and his son Yahushua. That's the only way. It goes on. Our soul waited for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. So we're not going to trust in weapons. And as the Israelites, we have a long history of great deliverances at the hand of the Lord. That's our whole heritage, being delivered by the powers from heaven. If you go ahead and that's how we're going to defeat these devils, man. This is how Edom is going to be defeated. Because now what's happening is this word has flushed these devils out. It's cut them to the point where they're ready to address us. And they're going to have to address our faith. You're trying to make it into carnal. But the Lord of hosts is setting you up. And he's going to take over. This is Hebrews 11 verse 1. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. This is nothing to do with carnality. This is 100% faith right here. And it's going to make mention of the past. Now in verse 6 it says plainly, but without faith it is impossible to please him. You got to have faith to please the Most High. And it's not going to be based upon what you see. So even right now, you got some people that's getting all messed up, getting afraid, and you being inconspicuously absent from the whole thing, while you have others rush to jump out front, like General Yohana from ISUPK. All this time, your ass been hidden. But as soon as some major news happens, you pop up out of nowhere, like you've been on the forefront. Most High is going to kill that dude, man. Like you speak for the whole house of Israel. You ain't even been making you ain't even been out on the street teaching or nothing. But in any event, this is about faith. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. That's right. And that's our God. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not the God of the whole world, which he that rule the world. And he's going to be, above all nations, of course, and our Savior. But he is the God specifically of the Israelites. He is our God. He is our help and our shield. Now, when you go here to I'm going to just jump in at verse 32, Hebrews 11:32. And what more shall I say? And what shall I say more? For the time will fail me to tell of Gideon, and of Barak, and of Samson, and of Jephthah, of David also, and Samuel, and of the prophets, great men of faith. It goes on. Who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. You can find all these stories in the Old Testament, in the Apocrypha, and in the New Testament. It goes on. Women received their dead raised to life again, and others were tortured, not accepting deliverance that they might obtain a better resurrection. And others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover of bonds and imprisonment. And you remember the tortures, the mockings, the scourgings, all written in the scriptures. If you brings you to mind of the 7 sons with their mother who was tortured at the hands of the Greeks for not eating pork. Also Eleazar, the older gentleman, in the same manner. You remember what happened to Paul and Stephen, as some would say. Different men of the Lord enduring mocking, right? Scourgings. Yeah, moreover of bonds and imprisonment. Remember Peter and the other apostles in the book of Acts got locked up? They were stoned. They were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, and tormented. And you can also hear those stories. Different things of faith, but they all, great deliverances were wrought at the hand of the Most High. And it's going to be no different now. As you go on, it says, of whom the world was not worthy, they wandered in deserts and in mountains and in caves and in dens and caves of the earth. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. The Most High having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. So, as we know, this time the Most High have sent forth us, the apostles, last. So we have a long history of dealing with the nations and being delivered through faith. And the men of the Lord also suffered. Different things happen. Now, if you go to the story of Esther, which this is in the Apocrypha additions to Esther, we're going to read pretty much this whole thing right here. But it was decreed by our enemy, an Amalekite or Edomite, that it was going to try to get all of us put to death. And we got delivered from that. Us being here today and alive shows that we were delivered. Because if our whole line had got cut off, if all our people had got cut off, then we wouldn't be here today. So just bear with me here while we bring this out. And this is the same thing like now. These devils try to get legislation on the books by way of sleight of hand, witchcraft media, and lies. That whole thing was set up, and it's been unraveling. Brothers been unraveling that. And it's just like what the one of the elders, I believe is Elder Apostle Gabar, has stated. Whenever you look at even in a superhero movie, only the two main characters always know what's going on, but the rest of the world don't know what's going on. So the elites know what's up, and the brothers in the truth, in the faith, the hopefully elect, we know what's going on, but the world doesn't. So the world is blinded. They're blinded by Esau's witchcraft and media, but that's all that's going to do is further submit their own destruction, because we've been preaching the word and they've been ignoring it. Now they're going to perceive us as something evil, so they won't be able to repent. And it's all good, and you should feel comforted. like the lesson says and like the brother was bringing out, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. All we got to do is keep preaching this word. So when we're in the face of insurmountable odds or even certain death, we're going to be delivered. Additions to Esther 13:1. The copy of the letters was this. The great King Artaxerxes writeth these things to the princes and governors that are under him, from India unto Ethiopia, in 120 provinces. After that I became Lord over many nations and had dominion over the whole world, not lifted up with presumption of my authority, but carrying myself always with equity and mildness. I purpose to settle my subjects continually in a quiet life, and making my kingdom peaceable and open for passage to the utmost coast, to renew peace, which is desired of all men. Now when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass, Haman that excelled in wisdom among us, and was approved for his constant goodwill and steadfast fidelity, and had the honor of the second place in the kingdom, declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations, and continually despised the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdoms honorably intended by us cannot go forward. Do you see what's happening right here? This damn devil went backwards and tried to, this Amalekite wanted to get us accused so that they couldn't bring their kingdoms together. Just like now, the New World Order is set. They want to bring it, and they're saying these damn Israelites are in the way. You know, we want to be viewed upon as these great people. And Esau want to unite his kingdom. What's one of the main things we've been preaching? That the Lord's going to destroy the New World Order. So, of course, they can't have that. They need all hands on deck. So this is the same thing like now. Verse 5 says, seeing then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men, differing in the strange manner of their laws, and evil affected to our state, working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established, just like now. Right? They said these people got different laws than everybody else. They want to push the homosexual agenda, the transsexual agenda, right? All people coming together, and we keep saying, no, we're not going to do that. It's the same stuff. Therefore have we commanded that they all, Salakia, therefore have we commanded that all they are signified in writing unto you by Ammon, who was ordained over their affairs and is next unto us, shall all with their wives and children be utterly destroyed by the sword of their enemies without all mercy and pity. The 14th day of the 12th month, Adar of this present year, was decreed. They wanted to have us all put to death, that they who of old and now also are malicious may in one day with violence go into the grave, and so ever hereafter cause our affairs to be well settled and without trouble. Now, if the people now were really the people of the Lord, these fake Jews, do you think that the nations of the world would embrace them and try to come together and set up, or even our own, this government here, the great red dragon? That's opposite of what the scriptures say. The scriptures don't say that the great red dragon is going to embrace the house of Israel. How in the hell do these people think they don't even fit prophecy? They can no longer even defend the Bible, man. This is ridiculous. We know that NATO, America, and the EU make up the great red dragon, the revived Roman Empire. Where in the scriptures does it say that the revived Roman Empire is going to try to help the woman? It doesn't say that. These people are frauds. So here you see it here. They want to have all our people put to death. Then Mardochus thought upon all the works of the Lord and made his prayer unto him, saying, O Lord, Lord, the King Almighty, for the whole world is in thy power, and if thou hast appointed to save Israel, there is no man that can gainsay thee. For thou hast made heaven and earth and all the wondrous things under the heaven. Thou art Lord of all things, and there is no man that can resist thee, which art the Lord. Thou knowest all things, and thou knowest, Lord, that it was neither in contempt nor pride, nor for any desire of glory that I did not bow down to proud Ammon. And that's really what it was all about. This Amalekite, this Edomite, had a problem with Mordecai because he wouldn't bow to him. And it's the same thing now. You people want us to bow to you. We're not going to bow to you. You're devils, and we don't owe you anything. For I could have been content with goodwill for the salvation of Israel, to kiss the soles of his feet. But I did this that I might not prefer the glory of man above the glory of the Most High. Neither will I worship any but thee, O power, neither will I do it in pride. And now, O Lord, power and king, spare thy people, for their eyes are upon us to bring us to naught. Yea, they desire to destroy the inheritance that hath been thine from the beginning. Just like now, they're looking for a way. And hey, them fake Jews was already mistreating you Jakes in Jersey anyway before this shit happened. And we really believe that's a spillover from the treatment that you've been putting upon those people there. We know you want to gentrify New Jersey. That's why you're doing this. As these devils always say, never let a good crisis go to waste. They're going to try to implement certain things in writings, and they've already done it. Came up with a new task force to go against, what they deem to be, what do they say, extremists. It's just all a ruse so they can get things in right and at the same time come against the truth. And then eventually down the line, they're gonna wage war against the whole house of Israel, whether you know you're Israelites or not. He goes on, despise not the portion which thou hast delivered out of Egypt for thine own self. Hear my prayer and be merciful unto thine inheritance. Turn our sorrow into joy that we may live, O Lord, and praise thy name. And destroy not the mouths of them that praise thee, O Lord. All Israel in like manner cried most earnestly unto the Lord, because their death was before their eyes, and everybody was in a state of mourning. And it's going to come upon these jakes again, but you know what? The Most High ain't gonna turn around and save you like he did in times past. He's only going to save the elect. So instead of reading the rest of this, because it's pretty lengthy, you can go and read it in your own time. I've started out, it says here, additions to Esther chapter 14, verse 1. It says, Queen Esther also being in fear of death resorted unto the Lord, and laid away her glorious apparel and put on the garments of anguish and mourning. And instead of precious ointments, she covered her head with ashes and dung, and she humbled her body greatly. And all the places of her joy she filled with her torn hair. And she prayed unto the Lord God of Israel, saying, O my Lord, thou only art our king. Help me, desolate woman, which have no helper but thee, for my danger is in mine hand. From my youth up, I have heard in the tribe of my family that thou, O Lord, tookest Israel from among all people, and our fathers from all their predecessors for a perpetual inheritance, and thou hast performed whatsoever thou didst promise them. And now we have sinned before thee, therefore hast thou given us into the hands of our enemies. So you can go and read the rest right here in verse 7. Because we worship their gods, O Lord, thou art righteous. So she said, look, we went into captivity because of our own iniquity, what we was doing going off. So you can read the rest of it in your own time. All right. And you have little distractions and stuff come up. Anyway, so yeah, like you can clearly see, Queen Esther was all the Israelites were in great heaviness during this time, and they prayed, right? You're going to read the rest of it to see how it turned out. Of course, we didn't get put to death because we're still here today. But it's in these times, we ought to stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Don't get all antsy. Don't get all messed up, man. Just do what you normally do. Brother's going to be out there preaching the word today, in great boldness, still bringing it out on these damn devils, further condemning this society. It's already written and said that when they try to, when the enemy shall come in as a flood, the Spirit of the Lord is going to lift up a standard against them. So as you see on the screen, which is a neat image that I got from the brother, I don't know where he got it from, but of course, different brothers are going to start using it, right? But this is Daniel in the lion's den, as we can see. So let's read about it. It was a great deliverance from the Lord of hosts. Now, this is from Bel and the Dragon. This is chapter 1. And I'm going to jump in here at verse 23. It says, and in that same place there was a great dragon, which they of Babylon worshipped. And the king said unto Daniel, wilt thou also say that this is of brass? Lo, he liveth, he eateth and drinketh. Thou canst not say that he is no living God. Therefore worship him. Then said Daniel unto the king, I will worship the Lord my power, for he is the living God. But give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff. The king said, I give thee leave. So Daniel was like, look, this is an idol. I'm not going to worship an idol. I can prove to you that he is not alive. Then Daniel took pitch, fat, and hair, and did seethe them together, and made lumps thereof. This he put in the dragon's mouth, and so the dragon burst asunder. And Daniel said, lo, these are the gods that you worship. You made a joke like this is your God? You bow about it, fool? So, let me read it again. And Daniel said, lo, these are the gods you worship. When they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation and conspired against the king, saying, the king is become a Jew, and he hath destroyed Baal. He hath slain the dragon and put the priest to death. So they came to see the king and said, deliver us, Daniel, or else we will destroy thee and thine house. So the people got upset because Daniel made a fool out of their idol, which really was the Lord of hosts that told Daniel what to do. Put the spirit on Daniel to know what to do. And it's just like now. We made a mockery of white Jesus. We made a mockery of your idols and your gods. And you're so mad. You're so hurt. That's the main thing you devils hate, is that we tread upon Caesar Borgia. It's no different now. And you desire to throw us in the lion's den. You devils so hurt over white Jesus, who doesn't exist. Now when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel unto them, who cast him into the lion's den, where he was 6 days. So he was in the lion's den for 6 days, and in the den there were 7 lions. They had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which then were not given to them, to the intent that they might devour Daniel. Now there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk, who had made pottage, and had broken bread in a bowl, and he was going into the field for to bring it to the reapers. And the angel of the Lord said unto Habakkuk, go carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who was in the lion's den. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. Then the angel of the Lord took him by the crown and bare him by the hair of his head, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. And Habakkuk cried, saying, O Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which the Most High has sent thee. And Daniel said, Thou hast remembered me, O Yahweh, neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. So Daniel arose and did eat. And the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. Upon the 7th day the king went to bewail Daniel. And when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting. Then cried the king with a loud voice, saying, Great art thou, O Lord power of Daniel, and there is none other besides thee. And he drew him out and cast those that were the cause of his destruction into the den, and they were devoured in a moment before his face. You see? So the Lord of hosts delivered Daniel for being faithful, for trusting in him, for serving him with all diligence. The Most High delivered Daniel, and the evildoers were put to death. Now, as King David said, let the doer of evil be rewarded according to his wickedness. So, as they try to bring up a charge against all the Hebrew Israelites just because of some 2 bug outs, those bug outs got put to death for their own wickedness. No matter what it was, even if it was a setup, because more than likely Esau paid these people off to do something and told them they was going to get this or that, and they wound up getting put to death, because that's how the devil works, man. That's how the devil works. He'll promise you stuff, and then in the meanwhile, he's just going to use you. But you ain't going to use us. You ain't going to use us. You're going to be destroyed. So as you can see, from the history of the Israelites, there's always been great deliverance. And there's many other stories that we could give. Many other stories. But we'll stop right there with that, and we'll just read 2 quick Psalms. So let's first read Psalms 56. And it says, to the chief musician upon Jonath, I can't read that word. Anyway, it's a Psalm of David. When the Philistines took him in Gath, he says in verse 1, Be merciful unto me, O God, for man will swallow me up He fighting daily oppresseth me. Mine enemies would daily swallow me up, for they be many that fight against me, O thou Most High. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. In the Most High, I will praise his word. In God, I will have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. Every day they wrest my words. All their thoughts are evil. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They gather themselves together. They hide themselves. They mark my steps when they wait for my soul. And they do that. Follow you around. You out there teaching at the camps. They're driving by. They're doing stuff. They're watching you. They're online watching you. They got, every time you do a live stream, they got agents and stuff popping up on the comment boards watching you, marking your steps, knowing everything you do. And they still sitting there saying you're doing something evil. And all you're doing is teaching the word. Shall they escape by iniquity? In thine anger cast down the people, O Most High. Thou tellest my wanderings, put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? When I cry unto thee, then shall mine enemies turn back. This I know, for the Most High is for me. In Yahweh will I praise his word. In the Lord will I praise his word. In God have I put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. And another scripture says, fear not them that can kill the body, but afterward can do nothing else, but fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell, right? So again, he says, I will not be afraid what man can do to me. Thy vows are upon me, O power. I will render praises unto thee. For thou hast delivered my soul from death. Will not thou deliver my feet from falling, that I may walk before the Most High in the light of the living? And always David with a song. Here's another, Psalms 124, a song of degrees of David. If it had not been for the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. If it wouldn't have been for the Lord, hey, these people got all kind of weapons and stuff they can do, right? Nuclear weapons, kinetic weapons, chemical weapons, drones, tanks, bombs, jets, whatever you can name, they got. We don't have any of that. But we still not going to be swallowed up quick because of the Lord. He said, if it had not been for the Lord who was on our side, when men rose up against us, then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us. Then the waters had overwhelmed us. The stream had gone over our soul. Then the proud waters had gone over our soul. And the waters represented the nations, the people, right? Because if you read in Revelation, it says the waters represent peoples, kindreds, tongues, and nations. Here it says the proud waters. What kind of proud? You can't turn on the faucet and see proud water coming out. Then the proud waters had gone over our soul. Blessed be the Lord who hath not given us as a prey to their teeth. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken and we are escaped. And the snare is a trap. And we can always escape. The snare is broken and we are escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. See? So back to what we were saying. All we need to do is just stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, no matter what. And I did a lesson last night about demonization. Go and check that out as well. Actually went into the word and read the definition of it. It's entitled Hebrew Israelites, What is Demonization? So, in case it should be edifying. I mean, I kind of got a little long-winded in it and just went on and on. A lot of good scriptures, a lot of brothers coming on the comment board. So go and check that out as well. And that's going to do it for the lesson. So, like I said, it was a response to the brother's lesson. And it was very uplifting. So with that, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. All right. See you again with another lesson, Lord willing. Shalom.